It felt horrible. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm paying you and I'm trying to message you and you're not replying. Like, I've spent so much money at this agent trying to get help, and I'll be emailing you and no response. It sort of sinks in when there's people younger than you doing better than you. That's where I would say the turning point is.
Your experience in Spain, the opportunity that you had, like, how would you kind of describe it in simple terms, like what the whole year was about?
There's definitely some things that are bad about being in Spain, but there's so many things that it helps with. It immediately sets you apart. A coach has thousands of emails. This guy's playing in Spain. You're already narrowed down to such a small group. It's way more likely to just take a look at you. So that's the first thing. It just sets you apart. It's so difficult as a Canadian.
Why?
To get in front of those coaches. They can't come to your games as often. I had a school in Massachusetts that had emailed me and said, like, okay, we're gonna try and come up to Canada to watch one of your games. And that was so big for me. Like, you're gonna drive all that way to come watch me in Canada. And so the chances of that happening are so small.
So what was your recruiting process like of going to college? Like, did a lot of coaches reply? Did they just say, come to our camp?
Everybody's getting so many emails of, oh, come to our camp, trying to just fill the camp up. But you need to have like an actual email. Like, it needs to be an email sent by a human that like actually is a coach on the team that's wanting to see you play.
Kyler, what are you hoping to get out of this podcast?
Out of this podcast? Okay. Yeah, like I know Select Generation is like a great organization. I went with you guys, so I know that any opportunity to speak with you, learn from you, like, it's gonna be great. Like, I've been following on Instagram you guys, and it's so cool to see what you guys are doing now, expanding to another team in England. So just any connections with you guys, like working with you, it's always good to speak to you.
Nice. And I do have to say before we start the podcast that was not preloaded question that I kind of told Kyler. You know, that I just gave for you, Kyler. Thank you so much. That was amazing. I appreciate that. So what's our story then? Go on, from your perspective, before we kind of what's our story from your perspective?
Yeah, so I didn't even know about Select Generation. Like, I was focused on going to NCAA, focused on getting a offer for D1, D2, something like that in the States. And I was going to showcases. Didn't even know about Select Generation. Wasn't really looking at opportunities overseas even. And then after I think I was in Disney, the showcase down in Florida, I went and I had a good start of the showcase. And I remember you guys reached out and were like, hey, like, have you thought about like anything, going to Spain, anything like that? And do you have an agent? And I sort of like it was from Select Generation, not from Sam, not from anybody recognizable. And I sort of like said, oh, that's interesting. Kept it in the back of my head, but I never like expanded on that. And then I went to go play the semifinals, and I remember you reached out to me directly, and you said like, hey, like, I've seen what you've been doing. Like, you've been doing well in this showcase. Like, we should talk sometime about like you actually going. And like, I remember I was messaging you directly at that point. I was like thinking about it. I talked to my family, and they're like, yeah, like, if you're not ready to go to the States right away, like, this is a great opportunity. Go get some development before you go. And so that's when I seriously was thinking about going to Spain. And so I set up the call with you guys after that. And I had a great semifinal game. Like, I scored both our goals. We went to finals of Disney Showcase. And after I was texting you and you were very enthusiastic, you're like, yeah, this is a player that we want in Spain. And I felt wanted. I felt like, oh, I'm going there for an opportunity, not like, I'm not just paying to go get some development and then come back. Like, this is an actual opportunity to develop and an opportunity to play with like a higher level as well. And so that's sort of where our story started. And from there, it just like, it was great. Like, went to Spain, worked with you guys. You guys helped me connect with college coaches. Like, I ended up not going to the States after all, but like, you guys connected me to them and like got me there. And I was in Spain working with you guys every day, training with you guys, even though you pushed me on to even better opportunity with Unionistas. Like, I'm still with the group. I still have those lifelong connections. So we're very we're very connected in that story that way.
Yeah,
So,
right. Interesting, Kyler. That's amazing. Thank you so much. I mean, that's very rewarding to kind of hear your perspective on that. I remember that Disney showcase. I remember you playing, and I remember because a lot of those, was it the Canada Elite 11? It was that
yeah, the
showcase
Elite
team,
11
right?
team. Yeah.
And I remember I always kind of, now I go to, I think I saw them at NCFC showcase in Raleigh. And I remember at that Disney showcase, because you've always been like quite big, strong, physical, and a lot of the other players that I remember like watching from that Canadian team were a bit smaller. You had like a couple athletic players, but I remember you like kind of leading the line. I think you were playing midfield or 10.
Yeah.
And then I always remember like, yeah, watching you play and thinking, okay, this guy is like a good prospect. Like this guy has ability. So for your story, when we were, well, how do I want to talk about this? So, I mean, you growing up in Canada, what was your childhood like in terms of football? Like, were you wanting to be a professional? Were you wanting to like go to university?
Like obviously I feel like every kid has the same aspirations. Like when you start playing U9, you're the club players, you're the best at school in this tiny school of 300 kids. You're the top player in the club and you're like playing with maybe 50 kids at a club with a couple teams, and you're thinking, oh, I'm so good. Like I'm going to go pro. I'm going to play for Barcelona when I'm older. And your dream sort of starts that way. And I feel like every kid sort of dreams of playing at that level. And then when you sort of like get a bit older, you start playing at a competitive level. You sort of like try and see what are your goals realistically going to be. And for me, once I sort of realized what my goals were, it was like, yeah, I want to go and I want to play at a high level university. Like we have schools in Canada that are not great. Like there's a team that scored 1 goal the whole season in OUA. And there's actually competitive teams. Once you make playoffs of OUA, those teams are all really solid. And you realize like, this is the level I want to play at. And so from a youth age, I sort of realized like, okay, if I'm not, this is sort of my pathway. I'm going to play at a good university level and then see where I'm at there and then sort of make a decision from that. Like if I want to pursue football completely or if I'm going to get a proper education, which my parents, of course.
I was going to say, was that from you or from your parents?
Yeah, for sure. My parents, of course, have been really supportive and they helped me with going to Spain. Like they've always supported my football and my education. They both went to University of Waterloo, and that's sort of where I sort of wanted to go, to University of Waterloo. I saw this is such a great school academically, and I was like, for sure, I want to do that as well.
So in terms of when you were kind of pursuing opportunities, at what age did you take soccer like seriously?
Yeah, like I've had coaches, the same coaches since I was U9 have been coaching me all the way till I was U17. And I'm I still talk to them every week, texting them, like getting advice, like just they're coaching at a university just down the street from where I go to university. And it's sort of, since I met them, they sort of like, hey, you have a really good ability. We're going to coach you and sort of make you a good player. So I felt like as soon as I really met them, Stuart and Peter Mackey and some of the guys, they coach at Red Academy and at Conestoga, as soon as I sort of met them, is sort of when I sort of flipped the switch in my brain and I really wanted to take football seriously. And so that whole time, like I've always had team trainings and like team events always, but I always had extra stuff on my own, which was sort of when I was taking it seriously. I was hitting the gym by myself separately. I was doing extra training by myself in the basement, at the park, wherever. So I feel like U9 was when I started to really take it seriously. And then as soon as I was getting into high school is when I was already looking at opportunities at university. Like a lot of guys aren't starting until their 3rd or 4th year of high school. But for me, it was sort of, I already knew that you have to get started right away. And so I definitely got started right as a hit.
How
high
important do you
school.
think your coaches have been in your kind of like youth career?
That's like a huge thing for me. I feel like if you're not with the right coaches, and I feel I've got really lucky as well because I've got the right coaches. My dad coached me for a little bit, which a lot of times that can be really hard. Like I've seen it mess up other players when their dad has been coaching them just because of how hard their dad is on them. But I'm so thankful for my dad. Like he's supported me so much and like he's never has a negative thing to say. He's always positive with me. And the same thing can be said for my coaches. Like there's a reason I stayed at that club for so long.
So why were they so good?
It's not even just about the football. It's always the culture that we have. And
Like the human side.
yeah, the human side. They support you in every part of your life. Like they've helped me as well with universities as well. They helped me know where my steps are. They helped me outside of the team. I can always count on them. Like if I have a problem that has nothing to do with football, if I have a problem with a girl, anything, they'll always be there for me. And even now, like it shows that they're still supporting me. I'm not even being coached by them anymore. I went to a completely different university. They wanted me to come here maybe to go to university with them. And I went somewhere else and they still support me every day. Like if I have a game, I had a game last weekend and they texted me like, hey, good luck in your game before the game. It means so much to have that support and know that they're supporting you as a footballer, as a human, and not just trying to win. There's so many youth coaches, and in Canada, that's a huge issue because it's only about winning. It's not about the development, which is a huge issue for us because a lot of coaches are just taking the players and
You're talking about the university level or the youth
not
level?
even at youth level as well. Like there are coaches that are getting the kids play this style of football. You're not going to get any better, but we're going to win. Like U9, you're going to win these games that don't matter at all, but they're just doing that.
How do you feel about the kind of like youth soccer in Canada?
Yeah, that's sort of where I was headed because there's my team where I was playing and
Which team was that? Guelph.
Red Academy.
Oh, Red Academy.
Red Academy. This is where I played at my youth level. And it was all about development. They know that these ages, like it's good to win. Like we won U16 Ontario Cup, which was a huge accomplishment for us. But the reason that we were able to do that was because these years before, we weren't so worried about winning. We were worried about developing. And like they developed us as humans and players to get there. Whereas in general, the youth, like football in Canada, there's OPDL and then there's like I-model, which is separate. And I-model is so much cheaper, first of all, than OPDL. OPDL, you're spending so much money. And the level isn't that crazy different. There are players that are in I-model that could definitely be playing in OPDL, but it's just the money is a huge thing, which obviously is going to affect our development. If the best league in Canada, where all the talent is being scouted from, sort of like universities are looking at OPDL, universities are looking at League One as well, like if you're getting into that level, and TFC, like national team coaches they're scouting OPDL.
Why?
But
Is it higher level?
that's the idea. Like this is supposed to be our Canada's highest youth level OPDL, but you have players that are playing in I-model that are now like top players in whatever, like OUA, OCAA at the university level. That
Is there a clear
never
structure
had
or
that.
pyramid or not?
So we have
Like
this is sort of new. Like this is sort of like over the past 10 years trying to make this the new norm. Like there's two levels of OPDL, a higher one and a lower one. And they're sort of trying to structure it, but because it's behind this huge paywall, it's so hard to do.
Because I have no idea. Well, I have some idea, but for example, I don't really understand that well the Canadian system. Like, there's some players that I know that have played OPDL. Then there's some players I have that play for a different league. I don't know what it's called. And then you have like League One. Then you have CPL. And then you obviously have TFC in the MLS. Like,
Yeah.
for someone that has no idea, how would you explain the pyramid?
Yeah, it's, to be honest, in Canada, it's the least similar. Like in Spain, when I was playing in Spain, it's a clear structure pyramid. Like our team was in this division, Juvenil was in this division, then there's Liga Nacional here and all of that. And it's so clear. In Canada, the best way I can describe it is a bunch of pyramids that are just the top of the pyramid. And it's so scattered around. So you look at MLS, we have 3 teams in MLS and it's not connected at all from here. There's no promotion from here to there. We have CPL.
What are the teams in MLS? You got obviously TFC,
Vancouver, and we have a team. What's the last one? Vancouver Whitecaps, TFC, and Montreal.
Oh, okay.
So we have the 3 teams in MLS, and then you look at CPL. Again, no promotion, no relegation. It's just CPL. That's our one league. And then we have League One.
As a young player, does that frustrate you? Do you think about that a lot?
Yeah, it does for sure, because you look at that and there's no opportunity for you to go up. Like there's League One teams that are so good and you win League One, you go into...
What is League One?
Yeah, League One is our semi-professional league, so CPL.
So you have like MLS, CPL, and then League One?
Yeah, I would say in that order, but because like we have the Canadian Championship, which is the only time that all the teams get to play against each other.
Cup.
Yeah, FA Cup. Everybody's playing against each other, but for example, League One only gets to send one team. All the MLS teams are in, the CPL teams are in. And you see this League One team full of semi-professional players that some of them aren't even being paid, are playing against pros, and they're putting up a fight. Like we lose, but it's a good game where these teams are barely looking at scouting any of these players from League One. You have League One teams that are winning. You can win top scorer in MLS, and there's nothing. Or sorry, not MLS. In League One, you win top scorer in League One, and it's like, okay, so just go to the next season.
So if you're a player and you think that the system is wrong, do you have any suggestions how to fix the system?
Yeah, it is hard to do, but I would say, like, just for a comparison, if you look at Spain and you're a top player, you could be playing in like the 3rd division, 4th division, whatever, and you're balling out, you're having a great season. It's not like, oh, am I going to get an opportunity at a higher level? You are going to get an opportunity at a higher level. These top clubs are looking at these lower levels. And that's what I would say for Canadian soccer is something that we could use. Like do you not think that the CPL teams scout League One, or they don't? Like there's maybe a handful of players that are there. There is one.
So where does CPL get their players from then?
Yeah, so CPL, it's interesting. Like OPDL can sometimes go directly to CPL because there's like certain trials that you get different ways. Like even in U Sports, there's the draft, right? So which
is new, I think, right?
Yeah, it's pretty new. There's a CPL draft, and my team, like there's seniors on my team that have made their like this season OUA highlight tape, and they're sending it in so that they can maybe be selected for the draft. But even after you're selected, you're a top OUA talent. You're being selected in the top 18 players in U Sports, and you're going to CPL. You're just going on trial. Like,
yeah,
I was talking to one of the seniors, one of the best players I've played with, and he's trying to get into the trial, and he knows, like, even if I get to the trial, I'm probably only there for a week and then I'm being sent home anyways. I could ball out at the trial. You have to be incredible, unbelievable, even though I firmly believe that some of those players can definitely play with those.
So you feel like there's not enough opportunities because the CPL only has what? How many teams does it have?
6 right now.
The CPL has 6 teams?
Yeah.
Really?
It's
the CPL has
8, maybe 8. But it's It's either 6 or 8, but it's
So basically, there's no pro league in Canada.
yeah. It's
And then League One, how many teams?
That's our
There's a
pro
lot
league.
of League One teams.
Yeah,
as well.
League One has the championship and the premiership, and I think it's
And
like,
it's all regionalized, like per, like for example, if you played for Waterloo or Guelph, you would go to.
yeah, that's Ontario's League One.
Okay,
Like
okay.
there's League One Ontario, there's League One Alberta, League One BC. Like there's
right.
all the different League Ones, but that I was talking about the Ontario League One.
So basically, what you're saying is that there's all of these like development leagues, like the OPDL and the university, and you have a
Exactly.
big, massive pool of players, but then
And there's nowhere to go.
And there's nowhere to
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Right. And do you talk about that with your teammates? Like,
Yeah, it's sort of like understood that there's such a small opportunity past a certain point. Like once you're in U Sports, that's sort of like the pinnacle of where you're trying to go.
how is the level at U Sports? Would you say?
It's good, like it's a good level, but I would say League One is higher. So when I was playing League One in the summer, it was hard to get into the first team and get minutes in a championship team. And I come to U Sports. I was at a traditionally weaker team this season, but it was sort of like, okay, you're coming here and you're immediately going to be starting for this team kind of thing. Where League One, I was saying.
Why
it's
is
hard.
League One more higher level though? Is it like when you say higher level, do you mean like technically, tactically, physically? Like,
Yeah, so both are very physical, I'd say. Like you verse teams, you verse like Brock, you verse other universities. Like when we were playing U of T, these giant center backs. Guelph had some massive center backs. And you sort of see like it's very physical here, but League One, the same thing. I have a picture of me playing League One when I was playing in the Premier, and these center backs that are like 1.5 foot taller than me, and I'm 6 feet tall. Like there's 7 foot tall.
why would you? Why
center
do you
backs.
play U Sports and why don't you just play League One the whole year? Or is it a different season?
It's different seasons. Yeah, the League One is from start of summer to end of summer.
I feel like the Canadian system is weird in terms of the seasons because when I talk to some players, they have like a spring season, a Christmas season, and a summer or spring. Like it's 3 separate seasons.
Yeah, it depends how old you are as well. So we have in the summer, there's all 3 seasons are running at once. We have League One, League Two, and then the U20, sort of all are sort of League One umbrella. And there's promotion between League One and League Two, and then the 2 League One leagues. But even when that ends, sort of like start of fall, end of summer, there's another League One season in the fall that's like the U20 league. So I could play in that league if I wanted to, but that's the same time as the U Sports season. So if you're playing university, that's going to be better than the U20 league. But then in the summer, you sort of like, what level can you play? You can play League One and then come play university in the fall.
So you mentioned at the start that you were exploring going out to the States on a scholarship. What made you want to leave Canada? Or not want to, but what made you think of options outside of Canada?
Yeah, so like we said, there's so little opportunity to go to in Canada. But as soon as you sort of open that door, you look at other places, there's so many next steps for you. Like when you're you go down to the States and play, there's so many next steps for you. Like you have multiple pro leagues, you have UPSL and all those where you can have opportunities to play. And then even same thing, if you have the MLS draft, like you're a top player in NCAA, but
Do a lot of Canadians want to go out to NCAA?
I find, yeah. Like if you're serious about trying to get to the next level, playing at the highest level that you can possibly play, challenging yourself, NCAA is definitely seen as a bigger challenge, bigger challenge than playing in OUA.
So for you, when you're exploring getting out to the States, how were you doing it by yourself? Were you just researching? Were you putting a lot of effort in, or were you just like, I hope this will happen, but I don't know how it works?
Yeah, and it is hard as a Canadian, but we put a lot of effort into it. We had worked with, like, even before I met Select Generation. I remember when I first talked to you guys, you had emailed me and asked if I was being represented, and I was like, yeah, I've got this agent, and we'd spent like over $1,000 on this agent that was useless, and so he like realistically he did nothing, and we'd put so much money and time into this. We went to the amount of times we drove down to the States just to go to different camps of schools that I was interested in. Spent so many hours emailing coaches during school. I remember in high school, like the only thing I would do during my classes, I would be watching the lecture in class with my laptop open, emailing coaches in the middle of class. It's so difficult as a Canadian.
Why?
To get in front of those coaches. They can't come to your games as often. I had a school in Massachusetts that had emailed me and said, like, okay, we're going to try and come up to Canada to watch one of your games. And that was so big for me. Like, you're going to drive all that way to come watch me in Canada. And so the chances of that happening are so small.
So I feel like a lot
of
of players can relate to this, because you said you're reaching out to schools, you're emailing them. What was your recruiting process like of going to college? Like, did a lot of coaches reply? Did they just say, come to our camp? Did they not reply?
Yeah, and that happens so much with, come to our camp. Like, everybody's getting so many emails of, come to our camp, trying to just fill the camp up. But you need to have like an actual email. Like, it needs to be an email sent by a human that like actually is a coach on the team that's wanting to see you play. And it's so important to just say, like, hey, what did you think of my highlight video? What did you think of the way I play?
You've been listening to my podcast.
Have they seen me play? Like, do they like it? Yeah. And that's
how was it mentally though? Because I feel like the recruiting process for a lot of players is mentally draining, because you feel lost, you feel overwhelmed, you feel like there's no clear path, no one's going to reply.
It is so overwhelming, and it feels like a lot at the time. But the thing is, every school sort of is just like a fresh plate, like a new opportunity. And I find like all it takes is one coach that is like, okay, let me see more. Like, and then all of a sudden there's an opportunity there. And once you're emailing enough coaches and you're putting enough effort in, you're going to have those opportunities where a coach is going to actually take a look at you instead of just like.
So you mentioned there that you were started working with an agent and it was useless. And I think, as much as it might be funny or a joke, I think it's important to talk about this, because there's probably a lot of people in your position who feel the same. When you say that agent, obviously we're not going to name names and kind of call them out, but why would working with it, or from your experience, what was your difficulties in working with an agent?
Yeah, it was sort of in the middle of my recruiting process. I was grade 11 at the time, and we were looking for like, how can we get help with this? Because we are first time doing this. Like, it's my first time going to university, obviously, and I don't know where to start. I don't know how to email the coaches. I've been emailing coaches, going to camps, but like, I'm not getting any results. So we sort of looked into, okay, how can an agent help us out? And we found this guy, or like this company that did them. And okay, you're getting all these students into university, you're getting them scholarships, doing all this.
So you picked them because they had a good online,
they had a good reputation, sort of like they looked like they were going to be helpful. And then it's so difficult because like, what is the deal you're making with them? They can't promise you a D1 contract. What if you're not good enough? What if you don't have that skill? They can't offer you anything yet, right? But they can offer to help you. And it's so weird because looking back, I would never have done the same thing where I'm trying to get this guy's help.
So what was your agreement?
And that's the thing, is I don't even know what the actual agreement was, because it didn't feel like he was helping at all. But what can I say? Like, oh, you promised me a D1. You can't promise a D1 contract.
So you basically wish at the start that you would have communicated better and understood the expectations.
Yeah, like, what are you going to do for me? He said, oh, even all through your university career, like, I'll be there. I'll be helping you to get, like, if you want to transfer to a better school, like, I'm going to help you with this, help you with that. I went to the first meeting with him, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to be emailing all these coaches, and then I'm going to get them to look at your video, see this. I have connections to all these schools that are this guy's going to look at you and he's going to analyze your highlight video and see if you're good enough. And then I'm going to get you a meeting and like do this. And if that's not there, I have so many schools that I can get you into. And it was, I think the first month, it felt like, okay, this is actually working. Like it was promising. And he got me those things where like, okay, now I'm in the meeting with this coach. Now I'm being invited specifically to go to this ID camp where they're actually going to look at me. And I would text him, like I would go to the showcase. I was working with him when I went to those showcases. And I would text him, hey, I'm going to be at this game. He said, okay, send me your schedule. Send me what number you are, everything, so I can tell the coaches. And he would do that. And then it sort of fell off. Like he just stopped helping. And
I would say because he had other priorities or because he didn't believe in you, or what do you think happened?
It could have been anything. It could have been like he didn't believe in me. Like he didn't think, okay, this kid's not going anywhere. He's not any help to us. Like I can't market it. Oh, I successfully got this guy into this university. Maybe I should just stop helping him. But I would be at a very big showcase. I went to Dallas Cup and I would text him, hey, I'm at Dallas Cup. Like I'm going to be wearing this number. This is my schedule. Like let the coaches know. And nothing. Just wouldn't reply.
Really?
Or I would email him and And
how did that make you feel?
It felt horrible. Like it's ridiculous. I'm paying you and I'm trying to message you and you're not replying. Like I've spent so much money at this agent trying to get help and I'll be emailing you and no response.
So it's interesting because I can understand both sides of the story, not that one's right or one's wrong, but I'm listening and I'm hearing, and a lot of players I feel have a similar experience to yourself. And there's probably a lot of mistakes that I've made on the other side of this, being an agent. So from working with an agent, what do you expect, or from a player's perspective, not replying to things is horrible, but what can you expect? For that relationship to have been a successful relationship, even if you didn't get any offers, what would you expected from him?
Just
as a minimum,
just honesty and that connection, I think, is just the biggest thing. Like if you're helping throughout the whole way, like there's these schools that I want to go to and you're saying, okay, yeah, let's try and do that. I'll email these coaches. I'll get you.
And I'm assuming that you were saying top D1 schools.
I was saying, of course, everybody starts top D1 schools. Then you sort of realize, okay, like this is sort of my level.
And he would just say yes to everything.
He would be a yes man. He'd say, okay, yeah, let's go play for the top number one school in the country. Like we'll try and do that. But if he honestly came to me and said, okay, let me watch your film. Like, let me see what level you're at. Okay, I think this is unrealistic. Let's refocus our focus.
Why do you think he didn't do that? Because to me, that's obvious. That's the first thing he should do.
Yeah, and I don't have an answer. Like, I don't know why he wouldn't. You can help set the expectations, because if you help set proper expectations, then you're not going to have a disappointed player where they're like, okay, you said I was at this level. I can be playing for the top schools in the country, and that's not happening.
Did he reach out when you committed to Waterloo?
Nothing.
Do you think he knows you exist?
Unlikely. And it's so sad to see that, like, it feels like I've been scammed. Like I've been a victim of something, like of fraud, of something crazy.
No, I know how you feel. I mean, it must be. I think it's more the mental aspect of kind of being unfulfilled. Like you've had all these promises and also when you're a young footballer, like you have to remember that this is a very emotional process. Like you have dreams and you have a vision, and I think from my side, from like an agent perspective, like you have all these players, and every player wants the same. They want to play at Duke, Wake Forest, Clemson, these types of schools. So I think the biggest thing is honesty and managing expectations. And now kind of hearing your side of the story, it's like, listen, I don't care if I go to a D2 school, if that's my level, like, you know, and you understand it better than me. And I think a lot of players now, when I talk to them, like, okay, this is a list of schools that I think would be a good fit for you. I think a lot of the players respect an agent when it's like, okay, this is a level and this is my experience, right? Especially since it's becoming so much more competitive to go to these types of D1 schools. And just because you can't go there as an 18-year-old freshman doesn't mean that you won't be there as a 22-year-old senior. Like there is the pathway is not linear. I've been speaking about this a lot. What do you think is your biggest regret about, not to say that you're in a bad position or anything now, but in terms of the start of your college process, is there anything you would have done differently?
Yeah, well, like, to be honest, I'm grateful for you guys. Like, when I was working with you and like I would be in Spain, you'd be in England, wherever, I would still like be working with you and you'd say like, hey, this is your level. Like, there were D1 schools, there were D2 schools, and you'd connect me with all of them. And I think I'm like unregretful of like how I went about that. Like every school that you sent me, I was like, okay, let me check out this program. Do they have a style of soccer I think I can fit? Do they have academics that I think I want to go to? And every school that I said, maybe, like, okay, even if it wasn't like, yes, this is for sure where I want to go, I would reach out to the coach. I would set up a call. I had calls with 4 or 5 schools that I was 99% sure that I didn't want to go to, but it was just, this is the level that I could be at. And there were D1 schools as well that I had calls with that it felt like there was a really good opportunity to go there. And it just didn't work out, but it helped me see where my level was. And so looking back at the process, like, I'm happy with where I am now. So like if I didn't change anything, I would be happy. But looking back, I think I would just say, okay, maybe instead of wasting a year chasing the top schools, Duke, Syracuse, everything, I can see my level right away, see where I'm at.
I think that's important to talk about because a lot of players won't understand that until they actually get to the college level, because there's a lot of players that are last year of high school that are still chasing this Division 1 dream. And I hate to be the person to tell them, but I will tell you directly if I don't think you're at that level. And I think a lot of players don't really realize that. And then it's like, okay, Sam, thank you for telling me that because now I understand. But how could you have realized that earlier? Like, what was the point where you humbled yourself to realize, like, okay, I'm not at the Syracuse level?
Yeah, and I went to Syracuse camps with no email from a coach, just, oh, let me sign up for this and go ball out and they'll sign me right away. And it sort of sinks in when there's people younger than you doing better than you. That's where I would say the turning point is. Like when you're a young athlete, you're sort of the first of your age to be going to these camps, like these FTF camps. I'm the youngest person here. I won man of the match. Like all these guys say, yeah, these guys are better than me, but they're older than me. Like it doesn't matter. And I feel like also, separate point, most athletes are thinking, okay, let me try these D1 schools. If none of this works out, then I'll move to this. But there's so much value in, yeah, maybe group this in, but target all of this instead of just this part. And you can have way more success. I feel like if I started maybe like this, I could have found something here. But now that I'm starting here, then here, then here, you sort of end up down there because you have so much less time, less chances, less opportunities. So that was something to change.
So in terms of, and then obviously you've been to Spain, you've competed in Spain for a year. At what moment do you think, okay, I think this is the right decision for me?
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest things because you always think about what if, like, oh, I can commit to a school, but what if that better thing happens? And it's good to have options, but there's so much comfort in that moment when you've committed, you're happy with your decision. And when I sort of had the opportunity, the school was Albany that we were talking to, and me and you were both emailing him a lot. He was texting me daily, like checking for updates. And
that hamstring, man.
The hamstring, yeah. And it just didn't work out, right? And it was like, it was defeating in the moment, but it's also like, okay, move on like with your life. And I had this opportunity to come play in Canada. I had a D1 or D2 school that I was interested in the States as well. And I sort of made my decision a little bit more financially. But once I sort of made that decision, it was like the calm after the storm. It was
it's relief.
It was relief because this process has been long, hard, and it felt like I still got what I wanted out of it. If it wasn't the top D1 school, it still was something I was very happy.
Interesting. So in terms of going out to Spain, because obviously I think that's been a big part of your career and a big decision that you had to make. For someone listening to this that's like, okay, Kyler went through all of this, he had a difficult time. How would you kind of describe your year in Spain?
It's an extension on your recruiting journey, right? Like if I went straight out of high school to university, it changes so much. Do
you think it helped you get the Waterloo offer?
For sure.
Why?
I emailed this coach. So I was talking already to Waterloo since grade 12 probably. And I was texting them, and in sort of this community, like they already sort of knew who I was. Like I'm a player in Waterloo that they know about, right? And they knew about me, and they were already texting with me, and I was talking about going, and they're like, yeah, like, let's see what happens, sort of. But when I went to Spain, like, they saw me performing at this level. They saw me out here developing with a good team in Spain. Like, they came, and they're like, as soon as I sort of reached out, I said, hey, I think that I want to come to University of Waterloo. And they're like, yeah, like, let's get it set up.
So you think
like,
that they respected you more because of the level that you were playing at before?
And they respected it a lot. Like they saw that, and they're like, yeah, this is like, if this player wants to come here, like we'll
so and then in terms of going to Spain was obviously beneficial for you in terms of your recruiting journey. If you had to kind of describe the opportunity, because there will be like one of the challenges I have when explaining to parents and players is like, okay, go to Spain, it's going to help you with your college process. And they're like, how is me being in Spain going to help me with universities in Canada or in America, right? And they don't really understand. So to explain to a listener about your experience in Spain, the opportunity that you had, like how would you kind of describe it in simple terms, like what the whole year was about?
Yeah, there's definitely
good things and bad things.
There's definitely some things that are bad about being in Spain, but there's so many things that it helps with. When a coach, it immediately sets you apart. A coach has thousands of emails to go through, and they're seeing, okay, this guy's playing MLS Next, this guy's playing MLS Next, this guy's playing ECNL. They see, okay, this guy's playing in Spain. You're already narrowed down to such a small group, and it's way more likely to just take a look at you. So that's the first thing. It just sets you apart. And when they see you're in Spain, they know you're serious about football. You've put the time and effort into, okay, let me go overseas, let me develop, let me get better, and let me play. You're serious about the recruiting process. You're trying to develop before you go to university. You're taking that extra year, taking that extra time. It immediately shows the coach how much more serious you're taking it. And it helps you get that much better. I learned so much. I didn't understand the language at first. It was hard to learn. But once I was very good at Spanish, I learned so much from these coaches. A completely different style of football, a completely different
people say
coaching
that football
mentality.
People say in football in Spain that the football is different. Why is the football different? Why is the coaching different?
Yeah. So I would say, first of all, just the level that they like, the level of seriousness that they take it. They take football so serious over there. Every player like is actually like working, trying to get to the next level, and the coaches, they care so much about football. It's insane. Like, you're playing, I was thinking, okay, I'm playing Juvenil B at the Unionistas, and it's so serious. We have a full coaching staff. We have a trainer, physio, all of this stuff for this
And they love it.
young B team, and they're all so invested and take it so serious. And it's such a crazy experience that it feels like a pro environment. You're there and it feels like a pro environment, and you're still playing at the youth level in the second team. And so just that already takes it to something else. But then you're looking at the different tactics. You're seeing, okay, we're having these film sessions where we're analyzing our opponents. We're seeing where can we play. We're just, even if it's not even about the next game, we're worried about how did we just play. We're coming back and looking, okay, Kyler, you need to do this. And it was so.
How did you adapt to the style of football?
It was a little bit of a step, but going with Select Generation, where I first played with like the Academy of Select Generation. I first played with the Academy. I was with all English, Spanish speaking teammates, playing with them. They all are in the same position as me, so it's a lot easier transition. And then you're like slowly being put into this environment. I wasn't taken over to Spain and immediately in an environment, everybody's speaking Spanish, everybody's already friends with each other doing this. I was slowly integrated into that team. And I think that definitely helped with my transition, because otherwise I would have been lost.
What was the most difficult part about moving to Spain?
Just the distance from my family. Like, I didn't have anybody there, but it gets better. You meet people, you make friends, and
That's the biggest thing, I think, for players and parents and people. Well, players going abroad first and foremost. It's always like, yeah, but I don't know. It's out of my comfort zone. It's far from home. I'm so used to being part of my family. What were your coping mechanisms, or how did you deal with that?
yeah, and well, we're in a time where you can FaceTime them anytime you want, so it wasn't that bad. And looking back now, like, obviously I'm done now. Like, it was a year, but that year flew by. It was so fast. It went by so fast. And looking back, I'm so happy I went. And so I would first just think of all the people that have already been through it and how grateful they've been for that experience. Like, take me for example, how grateful I am for that experience. And I would say just remember those times, like, stay connected with people from back home, but it's so easy to make friends there, like, especially if you're with other people that are in the same position as you. It's so great because they're in the same position. You immediately have that connection, and it's so easy to make friends.
How would you say was in terms of like football, how did you develop as a footballer?
I think for me, a lot of it was mental. Like, obviously other people are going to have a different experience than me, but I was struggling with injuries the whole season. But just being around that team, seeing how like the team functioned, and being in those sessions with those coaches, they're coaching me. I played only 10 games the whole time, just from injury. And I still learned so much mentally. Like, I think technically I feel at a similar level to when I left. And I'm sure if I didn't struggle with injuries, I would have developed as well. But for me, the most development I made was definitely mentally.
Why? What does that mean?
So learning about the game.
What did you learn?
So for me as a striker, I went over to Spain playing as a 10 winger, and then sometimes playing striker, also sometimes wing back. And I sort of went to Spain. When I joined the Unionistas team, they said, you're going to be a striker. You're going to play as a striker. You're going to specialize as a striker. And it was sort of a secondary position for me at the time. And I was like, okay, but I need to learn how to play striker properly. And I learned so much. Pressing I remember back when I was new to the team, I was super nervous to play with them. And I was like barely talking, not even just because my Spanish was already developed. And I heard one of the teammates say during the training session, like we were watching the film of me pressing, and the coach was trying to explain to me what he wanted from me and like how to press like these curved runs, pressing here so that you can force the ball to a specific place. And one of the teammates said, it's because he doesn't understand how to do this, this pressing, talking about me. And I remember seeing that and I was like, okay, this is clearly one of my weaknesses. Like even my teammates are seeing this as a weakness. And usually you're more focused on your own development. Like, and he's saying, okay, this is a weakness of mine that I need to work on. And throughout that year, there were a couple of things I worked on, like positioning and like holding the ball up. The amount of like playing as a winger, get the ball, like try and take on this fullback. And when I sort of transitioned to a hold up striker, they want me to play, settle the ball and play underneath. Don't try and turn and take on the center back, like play underneath and then go. And so working on that and working on my pressing, I learned so much. Like I would never have, if I came straight to university, I never would have worked on that and developed that much at University of Waterloo. Like in my first year, there's no way I was starting doing all of this properly when in Spain, this was a secondary position. I learned all of that. Now I'm main position is a striker. Because of this, I learned so much to be a striker. I came to University of Waterloo. Okay, yeah, you're going to be our starting striker. You know how to do all this properly. And so that's definitely, I learned so much mentally about how to be a striker, about positioning, about pressing.
What do you think is your best attribute as a footballer?
I would always when I was younger, my technical ability was unbelievable because of the hours that I put in just on a ball by myself. And I've always thought that was a strength, and I always had really good pace. I was always so quick. And after your hamstring tears a couple times, you lose a lot of pace. And right now, if you ask any of my teammates at University of Waterloo, they ask, what is Kyler's biggest strength? I think that everybody there will say hold up play, which is crazy to think about even a year ago because of how much that was not my style. I was not a hold up player at all. I would always take somebody on. Dribbling was my top strength. Pace, technical ability was always my top strength. And so right now, I would agree that maybe the hold up play is developed, but I would still like, if I think about myself, I think about myself as a player that's 1v1s is my strength. 1v1, taking on a player or even defending a player. If I'm playing wingback, I can defend a player 1v1.
What are you planning to do with your football career then? Because we talked about in Canada not being that many pathways. You've been abroad already. Now you're kind of doing your university and your sports. Like, what's next for you in your football career?
Yeah, and I've seen like it is a great environment. Like everybody is so great at University of Waterloo, and I could definitely see myself here for my whole career playing at this school. It's a great school academically, but as much as I can see myself doing that, I can also see myself transferring to a different school. Like just because you have a university.
Why would you want to transfer? Because there'll be a lot of players listening to this that will be thinking, yeah, I've thought about transferring, but I'm safe, I'm comfortable, I'm good. If I transfer, it's a risk. What if
and that's exactly how I'm thinking. Like it is a risk. You're seeing as I'm first year starting in this team already, I feel like, okay, I'm going to get a lot of great minutes playing in this team for my whole career. Like this is going to be a great environment. And we had a great team this year. We had a really good chance at an OUA championship this year. We got a little bit unlucky, but it's a school that is definitely getting more competitive. And I think the coming years, we're going to be a competitive team. But the only reason that I think about transferring is just all these schools, like even if I wanted to still play in the States, it's not a closed door once you go to one university. And I've definitely thought about it. And I thought about already how I'm going to reach out to coaches. If I reach out and say, hey, look at me, what I'm doing this year. I went to this school. I started all the games that I was healthy, and we had a great season at this school.
Why do you think that you are, let's say that you now were talking to yourself when you're 17.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you more able now to get NCAA offers than you were when you were 17?
It's so different now that I'm proven at a university level. Like I've had success at this school. We've made the top 4 of OUA from a school that last year didn't make playoffs. Like something's changed in that team dynamic. And I'm not saying that's just me. We had lots of great players come in, lots of players step up from last year. Players come back from injury. Like there's a big change there. But I'm succeeding in that successful team. I'm getting great minutes. And so if a school looks at that, like it's a huge difference of a school looking at, okay, you're successful in club football where maybe you're playing against different levels versus, oh, you're successful at the university level.
So what you're saying is that you needed a bridge. You needed something in between.
Yeah, you're like a lot of those schools are going to think that, oh, well, I don't need direct players. There's so many players going through transfer portal, and you can definitely go from nothing to D3 to D2 to D1 or D2 to D1, where you get proven at another level. Then you go to D1, where those players are mostly transfers now coming from other schools. The amount of young people they're taking is so much less because they say, oh, well, we can just get proven players that want to come here anyways. So I think this is a way better way of proving myself. If you can prove yourself first, it's a way better bridge to sort of get into those teams.
What are you most grateful for?
I think just being trusted. Like if I'm talking about university soccer, the coaches putting that trust in me. Like there's 3 or 4 first year players that they've been really trusting this season with a lot of minutes, which is so great for me. Like they're a school that doesn't need to do that. We have so many seniors that are playing League One already, and the amount of trust they put in the first years, I have to be so grateful for that, because there's a lot of schools that don't give you that opportunity. They say, okay, well, you're just here for once you get into those older years, then you can step into a more important role.
What are you most excited about the next 2 years?
Just to see what happens. Like I haven't lived before. Haven't had these experiences before, and there's anything that could happen still. Like I've imagined my life going so many different directions, and we'll see what happens in this story. But
and just to end, Kyler, one last final question, because I think that you've had a lot of experiences, and I think a lot of people can relate to your story. What do you think makes your story relatable to someone listening to this podcast?
You know what? There's so many people like me that have they maybe haven't gone to Spain, they haven't done this, but there's so many Canadian athletes that are in the exact same position as where I was 3 or 4 years ago, starting my recruitment journey. Even like my girlfriend's brother is doing the exact thing that I was doing. He was going to these camps, and right now he's going to these camps this weekend, FTF Showcase. And it just shows this is not a unique experience. Everybody has the same thing. It's just, what are you going to get out of it? And
what advice would you give to that player?
To that player, like, I would say enjoy it. Enjoy trying to get into the best program. I would say make sure you put lots of effort in, because it doesn't happen while you're asleep doing nothing and you're just going to get an email from a coach saying, okay, I want to sign you now. You have to put an effort. You can go to showcases, but you still need to email the coaches, let them know you're there, let them know you're interested in the program. They're only going to be interested in a player that's interested in going there. And so I would say effort is the number one advice that I would give. Like, don't take this, you're only this young, you're only in the recruiting process once. Don't take it for granted, and put the effort in to like get something out of it.
Really good advice, guys. We'll Kyler, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
First and foremost, we'll tag Kyler's Instagram if you have anything that you relate to Kyler or you're like, wow, that was really cool. I like that. Send him a message. But that's cool. That's a full circle moment coming here to Toronto today to speak with you, Kyler.
Yeah, that was great.
So I appreciate your time. You're a natural, man. Natural.
Thank
All
you,
good.
Sam. Thanks for having me.
Good stuff.